Hey you guys, welcome to Wrestling in Color. It's your girl Stephanie. And I just want to say thank you all for watching. Even if you only listen for 2 minutes, thank you for even giving my voice and my thoughts the opportunity to bloom in your brain. And we're going to keep the ball rolling. Make sure you thumbs up, thumbs down, subscribe if you like, tell a friend to tell a friend, all that good stuff. But what we're going to get into real quick is this whole hoopla over Seth Rollins and his interview on Sports Illustrated and his words on Twitter that have reverberated around the world. Now, I'm going to say honestly that as of late, Seth Rollins' run as Universal Championship has been lackluster. Is it his fault as a employee and as a worker? No, it's the fault of creative. It's the fault of Vince McMahon. It's the fault of booking. We all understand that. Now, the issue is Seth Rollins in this interview on Sports Illustrated comes off as one of those people who got theirs and don't give a fuck if somebody else can get theirs as well. He comes off as, I'm comfortable, I'm in the optimal position, and so whoever is not in the optimal position and isn't comfortable is thus whining and complaining about nonsense when they should be the ones working hard. Well, how can you say something like that if someone is working hard and working in the confines of what is given to them, but they are still being hindered at every turn, which is what John Moxley was saying in his now infamous, interview with Chris Jericho. It's a lot of things that Seth said on Twitter, and he came off as a complete dick when it got down to the wire. I can honestly say pro wrestling is fun. Pro wrestling is fun. It's a good time. You're going to see things outside of professional, by the book wrestling like the NCAA, like actual professional wrestling or Olympic wrestling. You're not going to see these type of moves happening. No one in pro wrestling is somersaulting and doing, all types of shit in the ring. You're grappling. You're on the ground. You might do a body blast or something like that. But you're not going to be doing what pro wrestlers do. No one has said that to Seth Rollins, that pro wrestling sucks and we hate it. What we're saying is the product should be better. You should respect your fans enough and respect their thought process enough to not just hand them a bunch of bullshit and say, here, eat it. It tastes good. That's not fair, especially for people who've been following the WWE and other promotions for over 25, 30 years plus. Okay? WWE has an ebb and flow. I've been following WWE. It's a point where I even stopped fucking with it for like a year or two because the ebb and flow is ridiculous. You said you had two separate shows, SmackDown and Raw. As of these last 2 years, 3 years, since 2016, it's been terrible. And these last 2 years, you all have literally just said fuck it. Now you want to put the brakes, the pedal to the metal. You want to ease off the brake and put the pedal to the metal because AEW's in town. Because New Japan is heating up over here. Okay? Because John Moxley done came out. Everybody's looking at him because he had a prominent role on WWE, which was the moneymaker, and he couldn't get from up under you, Seth Rollins, and he couldn't get from up under Roman Reigns. I will say this. I don't believe for a second Roman Reigns enjoys the position that he is in right now on WWE television. I don't even understand it. He's supposed to be the big dog, but he's right now in a feud with the 51-year-old man, Drew McIntyre, who's a complete loser. And now you got a 54-year-old man coming to your rescue. How are you, one, making Roman Reigns legitimate, making Roman Reigns a superstar, making Roman Reigns look like the big dog when you got an old motherfucker who done rose from the grave after he just came off a terrible ass match in Saudi Arabia, who's gonna stand in his corner and help him? Explain to me how that makes sense, Seth. How is that good shit? So all of this started because Will Ospreay decided to respond to Seth Rollins' nonsense. After Stomping Grounds, the how can I say, on Twitter, Cage Side Seats, if you follow them, pretty cool pro wrestling page, gives you updates and stuff like that. They said, remember when Seth Rollins said that WWE had the best pro wrestler in the world after Stomping Grounds, which I will say, if you go back and listen to my Stomping Grounds review, it was all good until fucking it just went straight downhill for some odd reason. Seth Rollins responded, sure, dorks. And after that pay-per-view, I stand by even more. The crew bought it tonight from top to bottom. All out effort from everyone in the ring and out. And you're still talking and writing about it. We're writing and talking about it because it sucked. And we're writing and talking about it because we paid $10 on the WWE to see good wrestling. We didn't pay to see fucking you and your girlfriend look weird in the middle of the ring. Y'all look like cousins. And we damn sure didn't pay for Lacey Evans and Becky Lynch to be calling spots during their match. So Will Ospreay came into the conversation. All he said was, I'm alive. That was it. The response, Cage Side Seats, Seth gave Cage Side Seats. Will Ospreay said, I'm alive. Somebody else said that he needed to dial it down a notch because he's talking about how great pro wrestling is. He doubled down. Seth Rollins doubled down. He said, best pro wrestler on the planet. See that cruiserweight triple threat? And that's just one night. One match amongst many. For anyone else alive who does what I do as well as I do, as often as I do, y'all can't. Stomping Grounds, Universal Champion. Let me explain something to y'all. See, the thing is communication. What Seth fails to communicate is no one is talking about your rigorous travel. No one is talking about your work ethic. No one is talking that you can't flip and you can't do falcon arrows and you aren't good at what you're doing. We're talking about the product and it sucks. That's it. That's it. You can't get mad. And you know it sucks. And the reason why you're lashing out is because you cannot say that it sucks. You're the top guy. You're supposed to speak well of your job. No one has a problem about that either. Wade Keller said, "This isn't a good. This isn't a good tone at all. If he wants to give people who love good wrestling, regardless of brand, to feel good will toward WWE's strength and its vocal leader, Buddy, little guy, disappointing and character-defining condensation. This is heel Corbin promo contest." And Seth Rollins said, I don't care about goodwill, Wade. I care about respect. And if some kid who thinks he's got it all figured out wants to step to me, then he's going to get patted on the head and sent on his way. And so will you. Seth said to Will Ospreay, oh, I'm sorry, little guy. We already have a better version of you here. And he just won his first U.S. title. First of all, Ricochet is an NXT champion and an NXT North American champion, and for the life of me, I don't understand why WWE on the main or period does not recognize NXT. Those wrestlers down there take the shit seriously. Now, if he want to say NXT is some of the best wrestling out there, then he can say it, because that's the only reason why I keep the WWE network is to see NXT. And honestly, I'm really this close, and my fingers are like super close to canceling the WWE network because there's nothing on it. You got a whole network to put all kinds of risque, fun, funky, wrestling-filled shit on it. Y'all, right now, they're over in the Asia. You could be putting that on a WWE exclusive, but no. You rather use the WWE network to show spiteful bullshit like Evolve and that Roddy Piper interview about a wrestling match that took place in 1986. Chris Jericho said, well, he's actually taller and bigger than you, but he's just saying. Don't bring Ricochet into your argument. Because the way Ricochet was booked up until his Universal title is ridiculous. And he just lost after he just won the title. I don't know what Seth Rollins is talking about here. We could sit here and talk about him going in on fucking Jon Moxley. That's the main issue I have. This is the transcript from the Sports Illustrated interview. And the host said, You've been feisty on Twitter lately with some of the fans. There's been some backlash against WWE recently. You took up for the company. What's the motivation behind it? Let me tell you, Seth lost. Before I read this, him and Will Ospreay was having the back and forth, and he was, digging other people on the side. He lost when he mentioned money. When you mention money, you just literally threw a white flag up and said, yeah, I don't have nothing else to say, but look in my pockets. And that's when the tide turned. But no one's talking about that, because everybody was like, okay, you could have just kept it to wrestling. We know you got money. We know you getting 5 years, $500,000 a year, or $1 million, or whatever the fuck you making. But you look like a jackass on TV. You look like a jackass in Stomping Grounds. So Seth Rollins went on to say, you can only sit back and read people bashing something you love for so long and sit there and take it and try to take the high road, so to speak. I'm real proud of what I do every week. Not just Mondays, but every single Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Really. I'm real proud of what I do and what our crew does and the effort they put forward. I'm not just talking about the wrestlers, the guys and girls you see out the ring. I'm talking about everybody from creative all the way up to Vince McMahon. All the way up to Vince McMahon. Hey, did you know that Drew McIntyre was supposed to win the match at Stomping Grounds? Yeah, Vince McMahon changed that at the last minute. Vince McMahon now has you playing gender roles with your girlfriend, and the shit's gonna backfire. Because it doesn't, first of all, it doesn't look good that now you're the man's man and all this other bullshit, and y'all look like brother and sister in the ring. But you're telling me Vince McMahon is the creative and all of this is so good? None of this shit makes sense? I could sit here and talk about Raw SmackDown just last week. I was actually going to do a review. But then I said, what the fuck? I got more questions than review. I got a question why fucking what's AJ Styles is going after Universal title, the United States title. Excuse me, I stuttered real bad right there. Why are you going after Ricochet when you can just go ahead and go after Seth Rollins again? Oh, you can't because we still trying to figure out what the fuck is going to happen with this briefcase. Why is Samoa Joe, who's a big fucking loser, jumping on Kofi Kingston? Why? Why do I even have to care about what Kofi Kingston and what's his name, Dolph Ziggler got going on? He only came back because y'all didn't want to go over to Saudi Arabia. So there's nothing to care about. Compelling TV would be having Big E going after Kofi and telling him, listen, man, you done rolled my shoulders long enough. I want that belt. And we get that program. Bringing back the Undertaker is not creative genius at all. Seth went on to say, we put a ton of effort into making a product that sucks. I said that I think is pretty darn good considering the amount of content we put out there. How about it's too much content? The 24/7 title really should be an internet title. Or you should put some fun vignettes on the WWE network for us. Or what happened to the third hour being more Raw and putting the Raw back in it? That just went to shit. You made Mick Foley look like a jackass. The fact that people want to sit on their little soapboxes and their little stupid social media machines and talk about it really speaks volumes about the generation and where they're at. And so I figure if somebody's going to fight back, it's got to be me. I'm the champ. I consider myself the top guy in our company. Sweetie, you might be holding the Universal title, but Roman Reigns is the top guy. And I wouldn't be surprised if after all of this going on at what is this, Extreme Rules, where, mind you, a match has yet to be booked extreme. When all said and done, I wouldn't be surprised if Roman Reigns is taking that belt off of you again. Because, sure, you got the belt, but what you got going on is not top guy activity. Period. So the reporter goes on to say, you're really good friends with Dean Ambrose. He left the WWE. Okay, we all know that. This is what Rollins said that annoyed me, and I'm sure pissed off a lot of other people. He said Ambrose can do what he wants. He's a big boy. He's got his big boy pants on. He sounds like a dick. He can go out there and say whatever he wants. But the bottom line is not everyone is equipped to handle the rigors of WWE and the schedule and how it affects you mentally and emotionally. Okay, so let's talk about the tail end of Ambrose run with the WWE. They proceeded to bury him, and we all saw that. And he continued to show up every fucking night and get kicked and get his head kicked off and get emasculated by Nia Jax. He's been on TV, what, 6-7 years with the WWE doing a bunch of goofy, dumb shit that man said he don't like. So, sure, it's going to drain you emotionally and mentally. Is Seth Rollins on drugs? Is he really sitting here telling me his booking as of late is spectacular? Really? Okay, Ambrose gave everything he had to the company for the entire time he was here. So what the fuck did you say all of that for if that's the sentence right there? That should have been the sentence. What do you think about what Dean Ambrose says? Ambrose gave everything he had to the company for the entire time he was there. That's all he had to say. End of discussion. Nope. He went on to say he put his heart and soul into the travel and the schedule and the injuries and the work in the ring and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, he took his ball and went home and went to wrestle elsewhere at least. First of all, WWE isn't the only promotion in town. Number two, there's a whole lot of good wrestling going on because I watch a lot of it. Reality of wrestling, world of wrestling. I think it's out of Britain. You got NXT. You got New Japan. You got all kinds of fucking. You got WoW, Women of Wrestling. You got all that on the internet. What is he talking about? So he wasn't supposed to go to AEW and be happy and enjoy his time, or he's supposed to be stuck up under you, coming back with the fucking what is it? What's the group that they was in? He got to do that group over and over again because if Dean Ambrose stayed in the group, the Shield would not right now be lined up to go against the old ass Good Brothers and AJ Styles. Something y'all should have did 4 years ago. Now look where Roman Reigns is at, and look where you're at. You're the man's man, like a bitch in the ring. Ambrose out here shining, winning titles immediately, doing what he want to do. How dare you? He went on to say, I think it's a little presumptuous of him to get on a podcast and talk down to the company that gave him such opportunities. And he referenced some of those. He did not talk about how he was thankful for. He did talk about how he was thankful for the time he spent there and the fact that he was able to learn, meet his wife, and all that good stuff. So then, what the fuck is the problem? Before Dean Ambrose said, "Let's bury WWE" in a jokingly manner, he said, "I thank WWE. They gave me the opportunity." So what the fuck is you couldn't complain about? Why are you even talking about Dean Ambrose like this? Then he wanted to say, like I said, I love the guy. I love him. I always love him. But at the end of the day, oh my goodness, you can't even articulate. How you going to use a word like presumptuous and say it at the end of the day more than 3 times? We are different. We are sharing different perspectives about what we want out of life and where we at in our own lives. Dean Ambrose is just now won a championship in New Japan. He is allowed to go to New Japan and get his feet wet over there. Dean Ambrose is going to be on one of the hottest promotions coming October. Whether it's hot and it's simmer downs, it don't fucking matter. AEW has a wrestling base that is ready for what they want to give. Dean Ambrose's wife is terrible on the fucking mic, and I want them to take her off of Monday Night Raw. She's absolutely terrible. But he loves her. That's where he found her at. So he gave that kudos to WWE. This man wants to be creative. He wants creative control. You have some type of creative control. So you can give a fuck what everybody else is going. You think No Way Jose is having a good time? You think having Aleister Black stuck in the room is a good time? Who else? Do you think Andrade Cien Almas, who was having some good momentum with the Intercontinental Championship, is now out of the Intercontinental Championship picture because y'all moved Shinsuke Nakamura into the picture for whatever fucking reason? You think he's having a good time? Do you think Naomi's having a good time? Do you think fucking Asuka and the Kabuki Warriors having a good time? You think what's her name? Kairi Sane is having a good time? Creatively? You really think you say you speaking for all these people? You think EC3 is having the time of his life? Cedric Alexander just said he still wrestles. He just reminded us that he still wrestles because he's running after the 24/7 title. The Revival, we know, ain't having a good time. Okay? Do you really think Drew McIntyre wants to run around with an old fucking 51-year-old Shane McMahon when he should be dominating on the fucking scene? He should already be Universal Champion. Actually, you should be trying to get the Universal title off of Drew McIntyre. You think he left and came back to be a musclehead? Do you think Bobby Lashley is having a good time playing tug of war with the monster among men who should be dominating right now? Who could probably be an Intercontinental Champion right now? Knocking people over? Braun Strowman? You think that's good? You think Buddy Murphy still the biggest kept secret? You think he having a good time sitting at home? So you speaking for all these people? Really? You think Sasha Banks having a good time? I know Bayley ain't having fun having the fucking rematch with Alexa Bliss. I don't even want. We could go into what the women are dealing with right fucking now. You think the women are having a good time? Oh, but because your woman is having a good time, that's what matters. Because you getting your dick sucked and greased by Becky Lynch, the biggest man in the company, that's what matters. Because right now, you're playing second fiddle to Becky Lynch, but you feeling good creatively. Yeah, okay. Anyway, he goes on to say, I hope he does well. I've kept enough tabs on him to know that he's doing super well for himself, and I'm happy for him. But I don't think there's any reason to hop on a soapbox and complain after the fact. And he has a right. He has a right to say how he feels. Who do you think you are? He has a right. There was no reason for what's going on right now to be written the way it's been written. Wrestling is scripted. If you want the shit to be good, you write it that way. And then y'all perform. What the fuck is Seth Rollins talking about? You need to take, he said, you need to take the first step, and that's looking in the mirror and asking yourself, did you do every single thing you did possible you could make yourself in your situation you wanted to be? Dean Ambrose literally stayed with the company for 6 years and said he was suffering and he was going through all kinds of shit when his friend Roman Reigns got cancer and they had him doing all kinds of stuff he didn't want to do. That man said he was desperate, didn't want to get out the bed, he was depressed, and he still got up and went to fucking work and showed up on Monday Night Raw. Still. So what are you talking about, Seth? Maybe you should look in the mirror. Maybe you should reevaluate what you got going on. If the answer is yes, you did, then you could go somewhere and complain. And if you feel good about it, if that's where he is mentally, then go right ahead. Why you keep talking about his mental status as if he's crazy? He's not crazy. Dave Meltzer ain't crazy. Brian Alvarez ain't crazy. And everybody else who's sitting here trying to figure out the fuck is going on with the WWE ain't nuts. It sucks. So if I go to Chipotle and I eat their food and I get fucking food poisoning, am I not supposed to go on the Chipotle website and tell them, hey man, your food sucks, I got food poisoning, this is terrible, and they're going to rectify the situation? What's going on right now is WWE is essentially telling everybody to fuck themselves. In the voice of Sami Zayn. Kevin, do you think Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens having a good time? They're fucking losers. The only person that look like they're having a good time is fucking R-Truth. And that's because he knows how to make sugar out of shit. R-Truth really shouldn't be running around with no fucking 24/7 title with Carmelo on his back, which that shit I don't even like. Running around like a goddamn dog with this woman on his back. R-Truth should have been a world champion in the WWE already. That man 45 years old and still at the top of his game. But you know who's at the top? You are. Boring as fucking ever. You're boring. He goes on to say, but if he hasn't done that and looked in the mirror and made a decision, maybe he should look and think about that and goes away for other disgruntled. You can't tell other people who got problems. They're not disgruntled. They want to work. So you calling Luke Harper disgruntled? That man is 38 years old. That actually, I think he's younger than that. That man wants to wrestle. But he can't wrestle because he don't know how to do a southern accent like Vince McMahon wants him to. Because you know he looks like a southern yokel because Vince McMahon has this weird thought about what people are supposed to look like depending on their ethnicity. Kofi Kingston, Jamaican, whole African man. Have you had a conversation with Ambrose about these comments? And Rollins went on to say, no, I don't need to. Like I said, he a grown man. He got on his big boy pants. He could do what he want. He could say what he want. He fulfill his contractual obligations here, and there's nothing but mutual respect and love for him. He's one of my favorite people. Then what the fuck did you say all that for? What are you talking about? He took his ball and walked off. He literally is probably the only person that is fulfilled his contractual obligations to the T. Never complained, didn't say nothing, didn't go on Twitter ahead of time, didn't argue with the people. He was quiet the whole time. And WWE, the last 2 months, railroaded him. And you mean to tell me he's not allowed to go and say how he feels? Seth, get the fuck out of here, please. Seth also on Sports Illustrated talked about his woman and how they came to the conclusion that they wanted to include their relationship on WWE TV. I don't know if Seth is like slow, but he said this, and I quote: when you're first approached about the idea, you're like, I don't know how this is going to work. Is it going to work? I never done anything like that. I don't think she has either. So does Seth watch TV? Because why would he even say that? I don't think she's done that either. Have anybody ever seen Becky Lynch in a relationship on WWE TV? Becky Lynch has only been Becky Lynch for about a year, for a little, not even a whole 2 years. Because her getting her shit busted was last year, October 2018. So October coming up 2019, she will be a full Becky Lynch. 1 year of the man. Prior to that, ain't nobody give a fuck about Becky Lynch. So did he even watch her to say that? Anyway, he said, as far as I know, as far as he knows. Anyway, if you look at the way couples have been portrayed in the past, sometimes it's a bit sketchy, especially on the women's end. I know some of her concerns about that and mine as well. So we had discussions. But once we sat down and brainstormed about it, because at the end of the day, they're not going to go forward with the idea if it's not something we're comfortable with. Oh, Dean Ambrose wasn't comfortable getting shot to his ass as a comedy skill on Raw, and they made him do it anyway. So once we sat down and brainstormed to talk about how cool it might be and the options that were in front of us on the table, I think we decided it would actually be a pretty fun thing to do and a cool thing to do, and to strike while the iron is hot. It's not like this would be as cool if we did it a year from now. We don't want you to do it no time. We don't want you to do it a year from now, 2 years from now, or while it's hot. That's assuming I'm lucky enough to keep her for a full year. Well, Edge already put it out that you had cheated on your girlfriend, and there's some nudes floating around of Seth Rollins if anybody's interested. Now, this is where he got delusional. I think watching Sunday, he talking about Stomping Grounds, Sunday night, and me being in the ring during the main event of Stomping Grounds pay-per-view and hearing the reaction when she hit the ring and seeing the reaction on social media the next day, everyone seems to be pretty psyched about the role reversal thing. It's pretty sick to me. I think we nailed it, and I'm pretty happy with it, and so is she. Listen, that role reversal shit is going to get old real fast. And you supposed to be the Universal Champion and the top guy, and you up under this woman and all of that, and it's not, listen, it's going to get old. I'm telling y'all, it always do. It's going to get old. It's going to backfire. And role reversal is nothing new. She could have gripped you up and kissed you. That would have been some new shit. No, y'all in the ring patting each other on the ass and looking all stupid, like, oh, I'm scared and awkward. Put your tongue in her mouth or something. Squeeze her ass or something. Or let her do you like that. If we're going to reverse the roles, do it. Y'all look like two dry dummies. Anyway, that's my thoughts on Seth Rollins. I think Seth has overspoken. I think he's jumped the gun because after he said all of that, Monday Night Raw was absolutely horrific. Now we have an Extreme Rules match with him, Becky, Lacey, and Baron. Oh, by the way, I think it's funny that I mentioned that Baron was looking a little bit good with his beard because apparently he's getting a push because the ladies think he's good looking. I just said his beard. I don't think he's sexy at all, but okay, if he grows that beard out, oh, he's gonna go to the moon. Guarantee. It didn't work for the glorious one, unfortunately, but it'll work for Baron Corbin. I just think Seth Rollins needs to shut the fuck up until this product is at optimum levels. Because every time we watch Raw and SmackDown and it's terrible, the first thing we're going to say is, hey Seth, hey top guy, is this the product you said that's superior pro wrestling? You open the door and we're going to walk in every time and kick you in the balls. Alright y'all, this is Wrestling in Color. I'm Stephanie. Please give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, subscribe. Join me on this journey. I'm having a good time, and I want to have a good time with you all too. And make sure you comment. Alright, I think that's all of the directives that I'm going to give. Talk to you guys later. Deuces.